Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
You're a little quick on the draw there, kid.
That's right. I'm just sitting here talking to myself. Don't you mind me a bit.
Awesome, man. Well, we are what?
We are in day 8.
Day 8. That's crazy.
And tell me, how good do you feel?
We've had a lot of good feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah. We fasted for almost 2.5 days, right? 2. I always add a half because it feels better that way.
He's also, how are you? How tall are you? 5'10" and a half.
5'11".
Yeah.
So day 8, you're in. So lot of good things. Got a lot of good feedback from everybody. Loving it.
People are feeling like they've lost some of the cloudiness of their thinking.
Yep.
They're feeling lighter. They're noticing a difference in how their clothing is fitting. Some of them are actually weighing themselves, but mostly everybody's staying away from weighing themselves.
Yeah, that's good.
You and I haven't weighed. I didn't even weigh myself beforehand because we do this all the time. So I kind of just know I'm happy when I look and feel happy. I really don't care about the weight, but I would say I probably so far by day 8, we're not even done with day 8. I probably lost 4 or 5 pounds, which is a lot for me.
I lost 4 or 5 pounds still.
I think you lost more than that. Yeah. Got rid of some of those love handles.
Yeah, right, baby.
Yeah. So we have been spending the last several weeks talking about detoxing and cleansing, and I'm sure you guys are sick and tired of it, especially if you haven't been doing it with us. But I wanted to kind of recap some of the things that we've been talking about over the last few weeks, just to kind of catch you up to date and know that you can look back over our other episodes to see some of the information that I'm going to recap here. First of all, there's 2 days left, detoxers. Those of you that are doing it with us, there's 2 days left. So Thursday, make sure you get into the office and get on the InBody. We want to see, where are you holding your body weight? Where have you lost it? Have you increased water weight? So we're going to check your BMI, all of that stuff. I think it's important to know that information. And
especially visceral fat.
Visceral fat. We want to make sure that we've lessened some of that visceral fat. Yeah. There are very few people that have had some adverse, I wouldn't say adverse reactions, but just not pleasant reactions to the detox symptoms. And that's been all of it. I've talked about it on several videos now. All of it has been easily resolved with some simple solutions. So that's one of the reasons why it's so great to have guidance.
Yeah,
it's great to do it with a group so we can count on each other, lean into each other, call. I get texts every so often like, hey, Dr. Deb, what do you think about this? And I've always got your back. So anyway, we've talked about why we should do a detox. At this point, I think you understand why we live in a toxic world and you've beaten the boogers out of your body. We've talked about all the steps that are necessary to do a detox. So one, we've talked about everything it takes to do on this detox, but the important steps that you should take and the things you should look out for in other detoxes. We've talked about some of the diets that you can investigate and how to follow through with a healthy lifestyle. So I really don't like saying diet, but it is such a common word. It is definitely, it's food intake, it's lifestyle, it's what you're eating to thrive, not just survive. So it is taking different measures than you were taking before if you want to continue to get a great response, if you want to get energy out of your body and keep that brain thinking clearly.
I agree. Keep going. I'm on you. You're preaching tonight. You're on it.
All right. So I want to, before I get on to what we're talking about tonight, I just want to remind you that this Thursday is your talk on long haulers. So for those people, well, why don't you tell them what that's about?
Yeah, so I think it's going to be a great lecture in a sense. I'm talking about patients that are suffering from long hauler syndrome from COVID. I'm talking about people that are having some symptoms from the vaccine, whether they've been 1 dose, 2 doses, 3 doses, whatever it is, they're having some issues. All the science is saying basically you're getting the same symptoms, the same problems, same results. So people having stuff like common things like fatigue is a big one for everybody. Like exhaustion fatigue, like go up a hill, like walk up the stairs and you're exhausted for the rest of the day. You're having brain fog, weird pain, like injuries in places that you never had before. Weird symptoms like GI, irritable bowel stuff. We're seeing weird cancers pop up everywhere, just pop up. So we know that there's these spinoffs, and I'm going to go through some of the mechanisms of why that's happening, exactly what's causing it, and then talk about 3 major reasons that we can do to kind of help reverse that and help that. So pretty excited about that. It's August, February 10th at 7 o'clock at Aquaterra.
Not August,
No.
February. That's this week. And you know what? This is not something that's going to go away. So either you get prepared in case you see it yourself, or you see it in someone you know and love, you know what to look out for and what to do to take care of it.
One of the critical points is that with all the studies, a lot of studies I've read said that the visceral fat, the fat around the organs, right? That fat, that's this fat here too, adipose tissue fat. That fat here, the ratio between patients having COVID and dying and then having long hauler syndrome was astronomically higher, and it was all different rates for different parts of the body, like heart.
You're saying there's a ratio between how, like, them having
the
more
higher
adipose,
the higher the fat, visceral fat, the higher the rate of death, and the higher rate of different stuff like heart disease, clotting, cancers, like all this kind of stuff.
So that's why we've been hearing for the last couple of years, like obese people who are obese have a much greater chance of.
It's a big deal. Like it's really connected. So when you go down the in-body and you're measuring your visceral fat, that's an indicator. You see that going down. That just gives you another sign that you're decreasing the rate in which you can the risk, right? And not only just with COVID, but heart disease, diabetes, and on and on and on and on.
Yeah. See, because what a lot of you also don't realize is when you lose the weight, it's not about the pounds.
No.
It's about what you're taking off of your body. So you can simply go on a diet, a common American diet, and lose weight. But it doesn't mean, were you laughing at?
We've probably seen the comments.
Oh, you can lose weight, but it doesn't mean that you're getting healthier. Yeah. So these are the kinds of things that we do to get healthy. So here are the questions that I've been asked from many people. So I'm just going to kind of glob them, together. Many of our patients, not just on this detox, but on many of the others that we've done before, they want to know what steps can they take just in general. We know nothing about them. We know nothing about their health history. Maybe they're not interested in knowing anymore, except the fact that they want to continue on a healthy regimen. Aside from a healthy diet, is there something else they could be doing?
Well, I think there's a couple of good diets you can just follow in general. One is something called the autoimmune protocol. In other words, if you're just not feeling really good or really sick, I put a lot of patients on this protocol. It's available out there.
And you can see it on our last week.
It's autoimmune paleo. It's another one, that AKA. That's a good one. You could go into something like.
That's what I'm going into.
Yeah, paleo. You can go into keto. You can go into. There's a million different ones, and each one's a little different for different reasons based on different types of foods that are allowed and not allowed inside there. So those are good blanket ones, but there's some specific ones that I would sometimes do for some people just because of their particular ailment or the way their gut or their foods or whatever's going on.
So I want to interject just for a second, because one of the things that I do notice you doing sometimes with people is that you might start them out on one of those diets and then shift gears later on.
Yeah, we do that.
So every diet isn't necessarily for every person in every part of their life.
And you don't want to always stay typically on the same diet. I like doing it for a while, then kind of moving. Your body gets smart and adaptive to it, and you got to kind of trick the body a little bit to kind of shift gears. So that's always important as well.
How about supplementation?
The supplementation is a few things that we like to do just as a continuation of what we're doing. I think Ultrabiotic is a great product. I particularly don't like taking this every day forever. People do that a lot. A lot of research says that it's not good for us. I know that sounds crazy, but that'll come out. Obviously, research like this always comes out 5-10 years later. But I like cycling probiotics. I like doing like maybe 5 days on, 7 days on, and then 5 or 7 days off. I rotate it back and forth, back and forth. So
now, would you rotate this with another probiotic on those days off, or just probiotic?
Nope, just off, right? So we just go on and off, because you want your gut to actually produce the bacteria. You kind of priming the pump and then let it do its thing. The next thing is something called Daily Balance. It's a great product. It's basically a multivitamin for the day. It's got a ton of great things in it. And if you look at the label, you can see there's just a million great things in there. It's a great product. And so I think and that kind of blankets, again, the whole thing. And then the last thing is what some of you have been doing already with the detox is the peak protein. And the reason I like that is because it's a good way to get in and just do like a morning shake or a lunch shake. You could mix some berries in there. It's still a great way to kind of add a protein in the body without eating something heavy. So it's great if you want to intermittent fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to intermittent fast, just mix that with water. It actually tastes good.
No, it's great.
Yeah,
so,
mix it with water and it'll fill you up like you just had a meal.
Yeah.
Just for me.
So it's great. So
Yeah.
I like those three as the beginning blankets. It's not that it's a do all be all, but it's a great start and a foundation for people.
Yeah, absolutely. There are definitely, I mean, you can come to our office, you can find those there. You can also order, we can, you know what, we'll attach a link for
Yeah.
Aceva.
Yeah.
So you can order directly through Aceva if you want to order these products, or you can call our office and we'll take care of that for you. But there's lots of supplements. There's a lot of great supplements, but there's a lot of garbage out there. And I get asked all the time, Dr. Deb, what do you think about this? What do you think about this program? What do you think about this? And it takes me time to sit down, look to see who created it, where did it come from, what are their sources. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, I know
I'm a supplement snob.
We are definitely supplements.
And snobs. I carry about 50 different brands in the practice, but and I've tried them all and tested it. I love Aceva's products, but you know, I have others I like too for certain reasons, for certain things.
Although we like certain products from certain companies, they don't necessarily have the best of other supplements that people are looking for.
I've done years and years of research around this. I've been to many of the places where they produce it. I've been to their facilities, so it's kind of cool. So
sometimes the biochemist, like literally, he's whiteboarded. I see all this chemistry written on our whiteboard in our back office. Cool. It's pretty cool. All right. So some of the other things that we have going on are mostly women, but of course it's men and women. We see with a lot of hormone issues, inability to lose weight. They're still continuing with, like, you know, they're better than they were, but they're not all the way there. So what kind of things, again, the best thing to do is have let somebody guide you through. But without that, what are some of the directions that you would send people? So
typically what happens, like when you're not losing weight and you have hormone issues and those kind of things, and you're having some type of insulin resistance, or your body's just resistance to converting from basically a sugar burner to a fat burner. And there's a million reasons why that could be happening, right? Toxicity, inflammation, decrease in the way you move junk in and out of your body, the toxicity rate, which you can do that, which is basically like something called glutathione. And so how you maneuver that, there's also something called methylation, in which women are often very poor methylators, which is basically how you kind of drive your genes and your hormones to converting.
Which, by the way, if you're not a good methylator and you want to have a baby, that's something that we need to fix.
Yeah, it's big. It's so big, right?
Very big.
So, and that's why I'm doing the talk on COVID too. I think so many women are going to realize that they're having this reactive virus response, and it's really going to interfere with a lot of different things they're trying to do, whether it's getting pregnant, being healthy. It's just, we're seeing it across the board. So with that said, there's several things that we like to do in the practice. And one of them is one of my favorite things ever this is called a food sensitivity. In the sense that sensitivity is something that happens anywhere from 4 hours to sometimes up to 21 days, delayed reaction. So if you eat spinach, you think you're healthy, your body has literally a reaction to it and spins off and goes crazy. This lab we do is a fantastic lab. It not only does delayed reactions, but it also does immediate reactions. So if you eat a peanut, your throat swells up, it tells us that. But then there's other chemicals that block that. So we can see if that chemical's high. So you eat a peanut, but I don't swell up, but yet you have to produce this other chemical to block it. We see that in the lab. And then if you have a delayed reaction, we see that reaction. And then we see another chemical that adds like a tenfold factor to it, so that it can actually showcase that you're not only reactive, but you're super reactive to this product. So you could be eating carrots thinking I'm healthy, and carrots are literally like explosions in the body. So that's an amazing test. I love this lab. It's incredible.
Before you put that down, we used to, in our practice, have people bring us in a food diary or do an elimination process to see what they're allergic to. And so what that means is that they might eliminate dairy for a month, and then they don't see any reaction. So they go back on dairy, and then they eliminate gluten for a month and they don't see a reaction. So then they eliminate something else.
Great point.
Here's the problem that we see that we know for certain. First of all, if there's one allergy, there are more.
Right. It's a great point.
Right. And what I'll see is that they'll go back on one and get off of another. But what if they're allergic to both?
Well, here's the thing. And it's such a problem because you're kind of doing whack-a-mole, like you're trying to fix the problem. And so what I realized that if we work with somebody functionally, I don't do it with them unless they do a sensitivity test. Like it's kind of like a staple for me.
It's a big deal.
Because it's just, otherwise I can't direct you in the right food because your body's reacting.
Trust me, 2 years I chased it down with my dog till I finally said, oh my God, I'll spend the money on the test. And it was so well worth it. It changed his life.
Last thing is something called a stool test, right? And we do, not lastly, that's the second thing is a stool test. Stool tests are really important because everything, your immune system, 86% immune system comes out of your GI test. It's 3 days of your poop, checking at it. It looks at your pH, looks at how you break down your fats and carbohydrates. It looks at all the different pathogens. It looks at different, which we're knowing right now that when COVID comes, whether that or the vaccine, it is literally taking all of these low-lying pathogens and allowing them to go crazy. And so, and they literally they're causing havoc in the body. So it's so nice to know that, do you have it in the body? And if you do, what is it doing not only to your GI system, but to the rest of your body? Critical.
And listen, if you are really intent on getting that vaccine, maybe you can clean some of this stuff up before you do.
Really important to understand that, because without that, your gut is everything. If you have leaky gut, you have leaky brain. If leaky brain, you have all kinds of problems. So it is imperative that we understand what's going on with the GI system. That test is called the comprehensive stool because it is comprehensive in its nature. It tells us everything we need to know from that.
And leaky gut and leaky brain, these are real diagnoses. These are not just fad names are going to go away.
What do you got there?
And here's something fun. Who likes French fries? I love French fries. I don't usually eat them, but you get to poop in a little French fry cup. Isn't that awesome? Actually, I didn't mean to scare you off. We actually have great ways to make it a lot easier to do your poop test than just pooping in that. So no worries.
Last thing is something called an organic acid test. And that test is super important because that test looks for different acids in the body that are kind of like in the process of spinning the wheel and creating different chemical processes. And it's hard to explain in a basic way, but in the body, there's hundreds of different types of organic acids. Very, very valuable to kind of understanding like GI function, neurotransmitters, which is your happy, sad guys, your emotional things, your
epinephrine, your norepinephrine,
your serotonin, your GABA, which is all these things, right? So it tells us how is your GI system reacting and spitting off and dumping. It is a very difficult test to interpret, but it gives you lots of different data based on organic acids. So I'll give you an example. Like one of the things we know that like if you have high arabinose in the body, that tells us that typically there's a lot of bacteria. Arabinose creates a spin-off, which basically allows calcium oxalates, right? So that arabinose creates oxalates, and those oxalates bind to calcium. And then you have calcium oxalates, which is most of your kidney stones. So it's funny, most of the people that have kidney stone issues is really from a bacterial problem in the GI system, and it's spinning off that way. So just like a little weird thing like that, you could look at it and kind of help fix that problem based on that idea. So it's a really great informative test. Very few doctors do it. It's hard to read and then interpret and put it into play. But I've been doing it for probably 10 years now. So I like it. It's still challenging at times, but it's a great test. So those are some great tests that we do. It's just a handful. We do
we do a lot more. Last one, thyroid test. Tell me about that.
Oh, so typically if you go to your medical doctor, you get TSH or T4 or both. We run 9 labs in your thyroid. We run 9 full things. I had a patient today come in and said, I've been coming to you guys for 16 years, 17 years. I finally sat down with you and did blood work, and it was the most thorough visit I've ever had with my blood work. And I've done that in 16 or 17 years. And he's like, I'm telling you, I was blown away by it. And he's like, and I got it at my chiropractor's office. He's like, ironically crazy, right? I was like, no, I said, but that's what it's about. It's about educating you about what's going on and making you understand what these values are. And they're just not just numbers inside the range. Why are they there and what are they doing and how they're telling you a story? And so we do that really, really critically. So general blood work is another great tool as well.
Yeah.
So
now here's the problem with that is, so Dr. Joe got sick many years ago. We have 2 dogs that are wanting to play over here. He got sick several years ago, about 15 years ago. And we realized after a long journey to get there, that it was a thyroid issue that he was having. Now, based on the lab that was done on you, and then of course, all the much training that we've had over the years, we realized that if somebody would have actually figured out that you had a thyroid problem, that it might be a thyroid problem, we never would have known from the labs that you would have gotten from an MD, because
No. So the reality of that is that, first of all, thyroid is never a thyroid problem. So that's the first thing. So whenever you have a thyroid problem, there's something else upstream causing the problem. So whether that's GI, adrenal, viral, those are the three big buckets that pull it. And when I say viral, it's a big one, guys, because it's important. Number one viral one that causes thyroid problems is Epstein-Barr. Epstein-Barr is mono. Okay. And every ounce of research is showing that COVID is letting Epstein-Barr go wild. So I'm getting all these patients crashing on the other side because Epstein-Barr is attacking thyroid, has an affinity for literally for the thyroid. So, and thyroid medication will not solve that. It will not. Your typical stuff will not solve the problem. So you have to address from the backside. Otherwise, you're never going to get well. So it's critical that you understand that. And when you look at the whole profiles and you understand everything, the idea in the practice is that when you take one or two or three things that are going on, you kind of put your hands around all of that and then you turn it together. You're not taking one thing and trying to solve it, one thing trying to solve it, one thing. You know, it's like trying to solve a combination one number at a time. You'll never get the combination. You need all the numbers at the same time to unlock it. So you have to have that. And in order to do that, you just got to understand the landscape of what's going on. And once that landscape's created, then you can kind of reverse engineer it and help people get well.
Right. And what I wanted to make sure that you understood out there is that the reason why he would never have been diagnosed with Hashimoto's disease is because normally, and I'm talking more than just your general practitioner, I'm talking about oftentimes even endocrinologists, they're not checking all of the hormones. And even if they do, which after 2 years of us sending people out with the list of hormones that need to get checked, not one person came back with a full lab. None of them. So, and now I'm talking about a lot of people. So that's why we dove in and started doing functional medicine.
It's good stuff.
So you need to understand that. So who might do a thyroid panel? Who might be a good candidate for a thyroid panel?
If you're fatigued, tired, hair's falling out, brain fog, GI problems, anemic, what else? Hungry, weight gain, resistance to weight loss. Those are all people that would do that.
Sleep, sometimes
sleep. Yeah, sleep could be part of that too, especially if you have because there's often adrenal thyroid problem. If there's an adrenal thyroid problem, the adrenals are responsible for your sleep patterns. So that's your fight or flight.
All right. Stool test. Who might be a good candidate for a stool test?
Bloating, constipation, on and off, not going to the bathroom every day, at least once, twice a day. People that have really bad sneaky farts and stool, or just get bloated very, very easily after eating anything, regardless of what it is.
Unexplained skin conditions or chronic sinusitis or chronic sinus or allergies.
Great point. Exactly.
See a lot of that, a lot of headaches.
Organic acid's a little different. It's kind of for like those that are just when we're looking for that third level of what's going on, that's when a good organic acid test comes in there. So that kind of a blanket across the board. So
how about for a good kid, like our kiddos with like ADD, ADHD?
100% food.
100%
food. And then some of them I would do stool. No question about it. There's some of them I would do stool on because you got to find out what's going on with them. And because again, leaky gut, leaky brain, if their brain's inflamed, which is often what's going on, and they're not detoxifying properly, you have to go in there and do that.
And I just wanted to say one more thing about the food test. I have lots of babies that have they're spitting up or they have skin conditions. They've got chronic congestion. And they're not sleeping through the night. They cry a lot.
I know where you're going.
And and one of the things that I will have my moms do if we can't figure it out is if a mom is breastfeeding, I will actually have them do a food sensitivity test. And oftentimes we get them off the foods that are irritating them, and babies do so much better. So much better. So if you're, offended by the high prices that labs can run at, I understand. But you know what? These days we can't live without them. We can't. It's valuable. It's much harder to play guesswork and suffer at the end, because the longer you wait to take care of the problem, the longer you wait to find out the problem, the longer it takes to actually fix the problem.
Any questions in there? I don't see any questions or any comments or anything.
Hi, Chrissy. Hi, Betty.
Hi, guys.
Good to see you guys. Yep. Nothing for now. They usually come in later on after people have watched the video.
Awesome. Well, listen, have a great night. I enjoyed that. And then continue on until day 10 and then come out of the fast, slow, jump on one of those diets we mentioned earlier. Start looking at that stuff up there for you. and start taking it one day at a time. Remember, you got the path going. You're metabolically shifting right now. Continue on and knock it out of the park.
The InBody is available at our office
Yep.
for anybody that wants to come in for that.
February 10th, this Thursday, is the COVID talk at Aquaterra.
Yes.
You must sign up first,
You
please.
must sign up. Go to the the Align Life of Sugar Hill Facebook page, and you'll find information about that there. You can sign up with us, or you can go to the event page and look for Align Life of Sugar Hill. Also, supplementation, testing, you can find that at our office as well.
We'll throw a link in there for that.
Yeah, we'll throw a link in there so you guys can find that. We'll also put a link in the comments to get to our Facebook page.
Sounds good. Have a great night, guys.
Take care, everyone.